Okay. All right, fine. Councilman Reed, thank you so much for participating in this GPAC interview. We're thankful because of the fact that we have been doing endorsements for the last couple of years on judicial candidates, and now we're working on other candidates that are running for other offices, and we needed to make sure that we were able to talk with you as it related to your running for the mayor's office. This is your second time for running, so do me a favor, even though we cannot see you, you can just tell me what your name is and tell me a little bit about yourself. We've got 9 questions that we really want to ask you, 8 more after this, and that way you can just share with us your platform for the city of Cleveland.
Hi, my name is Zach Reed, and I'm a former Cleveland City Council person. Grew up in the Mount Pleasant community. I was a councilman for 17 years in the Union Miles, Mount Pleasant, Mill Creek Falls neighborhood, and that's where I'm at.
Okay. What if you are our next mayor, how will you address the disparity in infant mortality in the African American community?
I would build upon what's already been being done by the county and the city. I would use a more aggressive approach because even what has been done, and I think it's a good step in the right direction of bringing recognition and bringing the importance and urgency to the issue, I think the numbers still aren't where we need it to be. I think it's one of those things where we got to get our health department more involved. We've got a health department with the city of Cleveland, but when it comes to the issues of lead, the issues of infant mortality, the issues of violence, I truly believe that our health department needs to do a more aggressive approach to dealing with these issues in our community, because most of those issues that I'm talking about, whether it's infant mortality, whether it's lead, whether it's violence, are affecting the African American community the most. And like I said, I think that as it relates to the infant mortality, we're shining a spotlight on it, but we need better leadership in our health department. We need a more aggressive style when it comes to our health director and commissioner that looks at these issues that are affecting the African American community the most and say, well, let's get these things done.
Okay, and what initiatives or changes to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District would you spearhead to improve both educational and career outcomes for our students?
Well, I think what's first got to happen is, because I'm a proud graduate of the Cleveland Public School System, John F. Kennedy, greatest high school in the history of high schools here in the city of Cleveland. And I think what's got to happen is when I left high school at John F. Kennedy, I knew no matter where I went to college in the nation, that I was ready to take on the task of becoming a college student. And if I was not going to go to college, I knew I was ready to be career ready, job ready when I left. And I think what we've got to start to do is we got to put together a career education component in our school system, so that an individual who wants to go to college knows that when they graduate from Cleveland Public, if they want to go on to the military, they're able to go to the military and be successful. If they want to go on a trade or join the unions, they're ready to go on and take on a trade and join the unions. But they've got to know both mentally, physically, that they're ready to graduate and they're ready to take on society as a whole. So one of the things that I think that we need to do, and one of the things that I will do, I would embrace the concept that we need to start teaching vocational classes back into our schools and art classes back into our school system. I mean, I would take Collinwood High School right now, and I would turn that into a vocational, world-class, first-class vocational high school along with art, so that those individuals that go to that school know that you're going to go into we're going to teach vocational classes, we're going to teach those art classes, and when you graduate, you're going to be ready to take on the tasks of our society. Because you all know this, individuals who take art classes, that participate in art, these are the individuals who don't get themselves in trouble, because they're in band, they're in art classes and the whole lights. And they don't go out into the society that we know at a higher rate and get themselves to join gangs, get themselves to hang out in the streets. So we know teaching vocational classes and teaching art classes in our school system not only helps those individuals, but it helps our society as a whole because the violent rate goes down in our communities when we do that. So I'm going to be talking about more career-oriented classes and vocational and art classes back into our school system.
It's 2021, and I don't know why we're still talking about it, but what is your plan to address lead safety amongst Cleveland residents?
We're going to pay for it. I mean, we know what we need to be doing to eradicate and eliminate and to make these places, make our homes lead safe. We're just not spending the money on it. I mean, you think about the fact that, okay, we passed a bill, City Council passed a bill to begin to address landlords dealing with the lead in their homes. But yet, as you and I are speaking right now, we thought our gauge would be at least 1,000 landlords that are participating in the program that at least know. Last time I checked, when we sat outside it was last Sunday, a week ago Sunday, I think I was told that only 100 landlords have stepped up and did the certification program. So that means we passed legislation, the money is there, but the will's not there. And this is why I've said on this campaign trail, money is never the issue. It is the will for people to do the right thing. So when the money right there is in place to deal with the lead issue and to address the factors that we're not making these homes lead safe, and yet we're not spending the money. So that's why you need a mayor at City Hall that clearly understands. It's not enough to talk about what we're going to do. We're actually going to do it. And I've got a track record. When I was a council person for 17 years in Mount Pleasant and Union Miles and in Ward 2, I'm not only talking about the issues, but addressing the issues and actually doing something about the issues that affect the people that I represent. That's what we need to be doing. One of the other things that we need to be doing is, look, we all knew that one of our former mayors, that when we used to demolish a home, they used to just demolish the home and put the house and everything that was inside that house into the ground. And one of our former mayors says we can't do that anymore. The cost is too high. The construction cost is too high. Well, when you demolish that home, you got to take everything out and take it with you in that truck. Why aren't we doing the same thing with the soil? Because it's not enough to tell us that we're going to build a new house on soil that has lead hazard in the soil. We should be taking all that soil out, putting new soil in, so that when we build a new house on top of that soil, that not only is the house going to be lead safe and lead free, but the soil itself is going to be lead free. So those are the things that we should be doing if we really and truly wanted to do something about the lead problem in the city of Cleveland. We should be embracing the infrastructure bill. Second part of the infrastructure bill that's talking about eradicating the lead pipes and eradicating and doing something about the infrastructure in our communities. So I would be sending somebody to Washington, D.C. right now and talking to those senators, talking to those state representatives. Talking to the House of Representatives, talking to the people in the White House and saying, you guys got to get this thing passed, because we need that money to eradicate the lead in the city of Cleveland, and I'm going to use that money to eradicate the lead in the city of Cleveland. So we need to be using the existing funding that we have in place. We need to be looking at new funding from the federal government, and we need to be showing the will to eradicate lead in the city of Cleveland, because we know it affects not only our children, but it affects children of color more than any other children in our city.
Given the historically low spending from the city to Black-owned vendors, what is your plan to invest in and support historically Black-owned businesses?
I'm going to use my experience. As you know, I just finished a 3-year stint with the Ohio Secretary of State's office as the Minority Affairs Coordinator, traveling the state of Ohio, speaking to minority businesses, speaking to minority individuals, speaking to minority organizations about ways we could either start a business, maintain a business, or grow those businesses. And when I travel from Cincinnati to Dayton to Columbus to Youngstown, Toledo, Akron, Canton, and when I would speak to those minority individuals, those cities that I saw that were making a difference to ensure that minority businesses were flourishing in those communities, they did it intentionally and they didn't apologize for it. They did it intentionally and they didn't apologize. We're not investing because we're afraid if we invest in these minority businesses and these individuals who want to set up a minority business, that we're afraid that these other people are going to say, well, you're only doing this to these black businesses. You're only doing it to Hispanic businesses. Well, those businesses are just as important as a white business in these wards, in these communities, in these neighborhoods, because they create jobs and economic opportunities, which lead to safer neighborhoods. So I would use the concept that Mayor Cranley is using in Cincinnati. When he got his stimulus money in Cincinnati, right off the bat, he said, we're going to invest in minority businesses and women-owned businesses. And they said, why? Because we know during the pandemic, minority businesses and women-owned businesses were hit the hardest. So we've got to ensure that those minority businesses and those women-owned businesses are going to be here today and be here tomorrow because those minority communities need them. So that's what I'm going to take, that same approach. I'm going to invest in those minority businesses. I'm going to invest in those women-owned businesses. I'm not going to apologize for doing it, but I'm going to use the expertise that I had for 3 years traveling the state of Ohio and seeing what those minority businesses wanted, what they needed, and how they could maintain those businesses and go to the next level. I'm going to use my experience.
Okay. How do you plan to implement crisis intervention training for all Cleveland police?
Well, all you got to do is look. I'm the only candidate in this race that has a 10-point plan. And in my 10-point plan, I not only talk about hiring police, but holding police accountable, giving them the equipment and the technology to go out there and do a hard job, to start looking at the violence in the city of Cleveland from a public health lens, and using crisis intervention. And it's right in my 10-point plan. So what I'm saying to people is you need to go to zachreed.com, and in that plan, it lays out using the crisis intervention approach because it's part of the public health approach. And if we stop looking, what we've done in the city of Cleveland to look at ways to make our community safer, we've only looked at it for one lens, and that lens has been the criminal justice lens. And we can look at the statistics that it has, and it just has not worked. So when you're talking about crisis intervention, when you're talking about using the cure violence approach, you're talking about using that public health approach. And by using that public health approach, I can guarantee you in my first year, you will see a vast reduction of violence in the city of Cleveland.
Will you agree to make access to public information easier for Cleveland residents?
Not only am I going to make it easier, I'm going to actually be, me physically, personally, being able to have the public have public access to City Hall. How? Every Saturday, I'm going to open up the mayor's office to anyone who either has an appointment or does not have an appointment. I want the people of the city of Cleveland to come down and talk to me personally. And you've heard me say this, Bishop Ward, but I'll just say it again for your partners, your colleagues, that if the CEO of Eaton, Sherwin-Williams, or Cleveland Clinic called the mayor up and say, I really need to speak to the mayor, I got something very important to talk to the mayor about, whether they had an appointment or not had an appointment, they would get the opportunity to meet and talk to the mayor. Well, Ms. Jenkins that lives on 154th and Kinsman, her issue to her is just as important as the CEO of those companies. Mr. Smith that lives on West 75th Street believes that his issue is just as important. So they should be able to come talk to the mayor themselves if they can't get their issue resolved through the system. So I'm saying that not only am I going to open up and give full access to public records and the whole light throughout my administration, but I am publicly going to allow the public to talk to me personally so that they can help me to be able to take this city to the next level. We've got a top-down approach to dealing with problems in the city of Cleveland. I'm going to have a bottom-up approach. I want to talk to the people. I want the people to talk to me. I want to listen to the people in the city of Cleveland, and I want those people in the city of Cleveland to be able to listen to me.
Okay. You've got 1 more minute to give us your final statement on what you want GPAC to do and why we should be voting for you. And it's your hour.
Well, if you just look, it's all about experience. Those who say that, what has experience got you, all you got to do is look and see what I've done in Mount Pleasant. Go talk to the people in Mount Pleasant. Go talk to the people in Ward 2. What I want to do is take the experience of being a council person for 17 years, 3 years with the Ohio Secretary of State's office, 11 years working for the governor of the state of Ohio, and I want to take that experience and take it in the City Hall so that you would have someone on day one that can address the issues that face the city of Cleveland and the residents of the city of Cleveland. And that's why I'm saying to you and other organizations, put someone in there that knows what the hell they're doing on day one, that can get the job done on day one. And if you look at it that way, there's only one candidate that has the ability to do that, and that's myself. And I'm asking you, GPAC, to endorse the most experienced, most qualified, the candidate who has the achievement and the records to solve the problems of the city of Cleveland.
Councilman Reed, thank you for being a part of our process. We're wishing you all the best as you're preparing for September 14th and as you continue to go throughout the city. God bless you, and we will be looking forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you very much, and God bless you all.